Hello and welcome. The purpose of this video is to go over converting units, standard 1.5, using conversion factors. This is actually something you already know how to do without even thinking about it. We're going to make it a little bit more formal today. If I ask you the question, how many minutes are in 1.5 hours? I bet without too much thinking, you realize, oh, that's 90 minutes in an hour and a half. All right, but how would I show that mathematically? I would show that mathematically using conversion factors. Conversion factors are the same quantity in different units. So for example, minutes and hours, a conversion factor to go between minutes and hours is always that 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. I express conversion factors in fractions, so 1 hour over 60 minutes, or 60 minutes over 1 hour. This is the same exact amount of time. An hour and 60 minutes is the same quantity of time, just in a different unit. I can multiply any number by a conversion factor because I'm multiplying by the same thing on the top and bottom. When I have the same thing on the top and bottom, if I had 5 over 5 or 256 over 256, well, the same thing on the top and bottom of a fraction is equal to 1. So multiplying by conversion factor is like multiplying by 1. All right, so what would this look like? Well, what this would look like is I'm going to start with what's given, always. I start with what I want to convert. This is what's given, what I need to convert, and I'm going to multiply by a conversion factor. How do I figure out how to set up my conversion factor? I've already decided I have these two options. How do I figure out where to go from here? Well, I look at the units. So if I start with hours, then hours needs to be on the bottom in the next conversion factor. So the reason for that is, imagine I had 2x over 2. What would happen? Well, the 2 and 2 would cancel to give me just x. If I have hours over hours, the units are going to cancel to no longer be in the unit hours. So hours was what I started with. Hours had to go on the bottom in my next conversion factor. Minutes went on top. 60 minutes is equal to 1 hour, and then I just multiply. I have 1.5 times 60 over 1, which is of course equal to 90 minutes. Minutes is the only unit left, and so I end up here in minutes. Notice that I looked at units on the bottom, then the units on the top, then I added in my numbers. And that's the key to setting up conversion factors. Let's look at a problem where you probably can't just do it in your head looking at it. How many kilometers are in 250 centimeters? All right, so interesting. I have kilometers and centimeters. I'm going to have to figure out which conversion factors, CF, which conversion factors I need. Luckily, you have this information in our document that we gave you for the physics semester. And so we have conversions between different units. I see between my base unit here, well, centi is equal to 0.01 of my base unit. So that means that 0.01 meters equals 1 centimeter. You could also express that, it might feel a little more comfortable to you to express that as 100 centimeters equals 1 meter. Those are actually saying the same exact thing. So whichever feels more comfortable to you, either using this chart that we've given you or using 1 meter and going to 100 centimeters. So either or. And then I look at kilo and okay, great. 1,000 meters is equal to 1 kilometer. So now I have these two conversion factors that I'm going to be able to use. Remember, conversion factors are like multiplying by 1. So in this case, up here I only needed 1 conversion factor, but that's okay. I can also multiply by 2 different conversion factors because it's just multiplying by 1 a couple of different times. What do I start with? I start with what's given, 250 centimeters. Now, if centimeters are what I'm starting with, what unit has to go in the bottom in my next conversion factor? Centimeters. Okay, what unit's going to go on top? Well, I look at the two conversion factors I have, and I figure out where I have centimeters. I have centimeters right here. So, centimeters convert to meters. Awesome. Centimeters to meters. 100 centimeters is 1 meter. Great. Next conversion factor. So I've used this one already. Now I have meters and kilometers. Meters are on top, so what has to go in the bottom in my next conversion factor? Meters. And now meters, I see I'm going to be able to change into kilometers. I already used the other conversion factor. So meters, kilometers, 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. So now I have 250 times 1 over 100 times 1 over 1,000. That's going to be equal to 0.0025. You could do that in your head. You are also more than welcome to use a calculator here. So if you're using your calculator, you're going to put it in just like this. 250 times 1 over 100 in parentheses times 1 over 1,000 in parentheses. Now, could you have looked up a conversion factor to go directly from kilometers to centimeters? Yes, you could have, but by using the SI units that we've given you, and by using multiple conversion factors going through meters, you'll always be able to do this type of problem without looking up any extra conversion factors. So you also have here on this sheet that we gave you how to set up conversion factors, exactly what we talked about. Whatever unit you start with has to go in the bottom. That's going to allow the units to cancel. Whichever unit doesn't cancel is the unit you end up in. We can also do this if you start with something like a unit of velocity, kilometers per hour. So if I'm going to convert 35 kilometers per hour to meters per second, well, 35 kilometers over 1 hour, awesome, is what I'm starting with. But let's do our conversion factors first. So conversion factors, I see kilometers are going to have to go into meters. 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. Hours and seconds, I've already decided 60 minutes is equal to, I'm in hours and seconds. So 1 hour equals 60 minutes. 1 minute equals 60 seconds. Hours to seconds, I don't happen to know that off the top of my head, but I can use these two conversion factors to get from hours to seconds, because I know hours to minute off the top of my head and minutes to seconds. So what will this look like? Well, 35 kilometers over 1 hour. I always start with what's given. This is what's given to me. And I can tackle either the kilometers or hours first. It doesn't matter. Let's do kilometers first. So kilometers are here. We have kilometers on the bottom, meters on top. 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. So now my kilometers have canceled. Great. Now let's deal with the hours, okay? Hours are in the bottom in my first unit. Well, if they're in the bottom, hours will have to be on top to cancel. They always have to be on top and bottom to cancel. So I've already used this conversion factor. If I have hours in a conversion factor, I look and see where I have hours in the conversion factor I have hours in, this one. So hours and minutes will be next. Awesome. 1 hour, 60 minutes. Now I've used this conversion factor, and I'm going to have to keep going to eventually get into seconds. So let's see, hours and minutes and seconds. So my hours have now canceled, and minutes are on bottom, so minutes will have to go on top to cancel, and then seconds are what I'm going to convert minutes into. So 1 minute is 60 seconds. Minutes and minutes have canceled. The only units I haven't been able to cancel out yet, meters over seconds, which is what I wanted, meters over seconds. So now I'm going to put into my calculator 35 times 1,000 over 1, or just 1,000, times 1 over 60 times 1 over 60. Excellent. And when I do all that, I get 6.94 meters per second. So to summarize, we're trying to express the same quantity with different units. We use these conversion factors, which are fractions that express the same quantity, but in different units. And the whole goal is to get the units to cancel by multiplying by conversion factors, which mathematically is just multiplying by 1. Thanks for watching. Let your teacher know what questions you have.